going to tell you about the ChowGoo Interchangeables knitting needle sets. The set that I started with is the bamboo spin set in the small grouping, which includes the knitting needles sizes 2 through 8. And the set that I have happens to be a 5-inch length for the needle tips, and it also is available with needle tips that are 4 inches long, and it comes with, like I said, size 2 through 8 of the tips, and cables that are 14, 22, and 30 inches long, so that you can make various lengths of circular knitting needles. Anything from a 24 with the 5-inch tips up to a 40-inch length. And then there's a piece that can couple 2 cables together, this little guy here, and that coupling can make it so that you can attach 2 cables to one another, so you can get really long cables for blankets or shawls or scarves that are knit from side to side instead of end to end. So that's the coupler. These keys that are what you need to lock your cables and your tips together so that they won't come undone while you're working. And a ruler with a needle gauge built in, and it has both the US size needles marked and the millimeter size needles marked, inches and centimeters both. So I want to show you the way to put your knitting needles together when you're using these interchangeables. So I've got a pair of tips and my cable here, and what you need to do is start off by just twisting your needle tip into the join, and then you use these keys that I mentioned to insert into this hole that you see in the cable join. So it's part of the cable there. And so you put the key into that hole, and then you hold on to the key and the cable join together like this, and then you just twist just a little bit, just that much, your needle. Grip it and just tighten it just the littlest bit, and just that little bit of extra twist will make it so that this connection won't come undone while you're knitting. So you'll notice that if you were to grab onto this coupling part in your needle and try to unspin it, it doesn't come untwisted. You'll need to use the key again to do that. So then on the other end, do the same thing. And then the important step of using your locking key into the hole, secure it by just giving it a little bit of a twist like that, and then it's nice and tight, and now I've got a circular needle set up. Now to take them apart, you also need the key, because like I showed you, it won't just come undone by twisting it with just your bare hands. So you need the key back in the join, and then you just turn the other way and it will come right out. Now if you needed to use a longer cable, if you're doing a blanket or a long shawl, then you take that little coupling join that's threaded on 2 ends, this guy, and you put that into the join. And you also need to use the keys to lock that in. So you'll notice that the coupler has these holes as well, and you have two keys, so you put one in your cable join and one in the coupler join, and you turn that, tighten that, and then you can take another cable and spin that on. Use your key in the coupler and in the cable join. Give it a tighten, and then you have an extra long cable. So that's how you attach those. And as I mentioned, I started with the bamboo interchangeables, the small size set, and over time I added the tips that make up what's considered the large size set. So those are size 9 through size 15, and you can see that the case that came with my smalls houses the whole set if you want to keep them all together. And these come individually. If you just wanted a size 9 set of 5-inch tips, you can buy this pair on its own. And so you can kind of add to your set only as you need them if you like. There's also an entire set called large, and it comes with all of these needles and the cables to go with it and the same tools that I showed you earlier. Again. But what you need to consider is that if you were to buy tips, either large tips or small tips, separately, the cables that fit on the two different sets are different sizes. So if you have the size of needles that are in the small set, you need the cables that go with the small set. If you have tips that are from the large side of the set, then you need the cables that go with the large set. So they fit the cables specifically because you can see that these coupling joins, the one on my left is the small join, and the one on the right is the larger one. So you can see that they're slightly different. Sorry, it's hard to see unless I put my hand behind it. So if you do decide to add on to a set, you'll need to consider which cable length you need and then buy the corresponding cable to your large or your small. You can also get the entire set together all at once, and that would come with both the cables for the small tips and for the large tips, and a coupler that will fit both the small cables and the large cables, and stitch markers that fit both the small ones and the large ones. I want to also show you that these stoppers come in the interchangeable kits as well. These are to use at the end of your cables if you want to use your cables as a stitch holder for holding on to your sleeve stitches while you work the rest of the body on a sweater, or if you wanted to use the needle tips that were on your cables on a different project. For the time being, you can attach these stoppers to the cable after you detach your tips, and this will keep your stitches from coming off of the cables. You attach them in the same way as you attach the needles. This is my mini set of interchangeable needles, and this is a stainless steel set. The needles in this set go from 000 to 1.5, and in US sizes. And sorry, my zeros are in a project at the minute, but they come only in the stainless steel because they are so fine that it wouldn't work in the bamboo. So this is a 5-inch length, and it comes with 3 cables, just like the other set, to make various lengths of circulars. And it comes, like say, with the cables, with another needle gauge that has the littlest sizes to size 3, and it also comes with this toolbox, and this has stitch markers in it, the stoppers that go on the end of the cables if you need the tips, or if you want to use the cables as a stitch holder. Comes with smaller size keys, because the holes in the components of the minis, which is this set, the holes are much smaller. So there's new keys, and also this rubber pad that helps you to grip onto the coupling joint and the needles, because they are so fine that it's can be tricky to tighten them without the rubber piece. So it just gives you a grip. This side you can get because you can kind of hold on to the key as well, but the needle itself is a little bit too fine to get a good grip on sometimes. So if you use the rubber pad, you can just tighten that up, and it's nice and secure. So these are the minis, and it also is interesting to know that if you were to get the adapter for the size mini to size small interchangeables, that's this. And what you can do then is use the cables that come with your mini tips. You can attach that coupler together, and you need to use the keys again. So you need a mini key for this one, and a regular size key for this piece. Tighten that on, and then you can use this really fine cable that came with your mini set with the tips that came with your smalls. So this is a size 3, and you can just then attach this to here. So if you like the fineness of this cable, but you need the size that comes in the small set, you can use this adapter to make that join as well.